Thank you for having me on your new show, Alishia.
Well, we've touched a new 2010 closing highs on the NSE 20. We know that you're an external bull when it comes to this market. What are your expectations for the trading week ahead, given the fact that we did see a slight pullback on Friday?
I think we're within 1% on the NSE 20. We're in new highs on the all share. I think the global picture is going to continue to see accelerated flows into the frontier and into the emerging markets, and I think we're no exception. And I think going forward this week, we're probably going to trend a little bit higher. And Alishia, I'm looking for about another 10 to 15% into a year end.
There are quite a few companies, though, experiencing some headwinds. As I was mentioning earlier, we've got KPLC seeing some volatile trade, and many saying this is set to continue as the company organizes this restructuring of its balance sheet. What are you making of the move? Have you had time to digest what this will mean for the company moving forward?
Yes, I've been through it, and clearly, the market has been traveling a long time, and it finally got the required equations as to how the government of Kenya was going to be converted. It's about a 50% dilution of shareholders of record. It takes the company to a P of about 11 ahead of a rights issue, and I think the market found itself quite long at the end of last week, and that's why we got all this volatility around the price. I think, it probably has a little bit more upside to the 280, 300 range, but, it's not the slam dunk proposition it was when the share price was 120 or 140. It's a medium term hold now, and really, I think this is the step one in the roadmap to unlock value for shareholders, but it's not the end game. And I think that's what a few investors got a little bit nervy about Thursday, Friday, decided to bag their gains.
Yeah, what are you making of the company's potential in terms of generating future earnings?
Yes, I'm bullish about the company. I think, you're looking at a situation, very much a cost plus business. So it's really about scaling it. But by restructuring the balance sheet, they can bring more leverage to bear going forward and maximize the returns for shareholders. So I think, it's a medium-term story. It's a powerful medium-term story, but in the very short term, it looks heavy.
Well, looking at another company coming under some short-term pressure, Kenyan Airways, not being able to really shrug off workforce dissatisfaction and strike action still looming when it comes to this company.
Absolutely. I think it hit a high of 57 just before the results, and it's been sliding since then. It closed at 44 on Friday, which is a trailing P of about 10. But the news flow has been, it's been a drip news flow. It's been largely negative. And I think investors have turned very defensive ahead of what is a possible strike action on Wednesday. And investors continue to be worried about whether Titus Naikuni can, one, stave off the demands of his employees or cut a deal at a reasonable cost. And neither of those two outcomes are yet clear. So I think that's why it trades heavy as well, near the bottom of its trading range and running against the general trend of the market.
Well, very interesting and very challenging times ahead for Kenyan Airways, where we know it had been surrounded by some positivity for a while after it managed to roll off its hedge on that oil price. In the meantime, also in a negative light, Aly Khan Satchu, where KPC has been allowed to contest that 4.6 billion shilling award that was granted to the oil dealer over a breach of agreement in fuel storage.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's been a very volatile stock. I think it got as high as 1150, then it came down to about 860, and on Friday it was around 990. And the noise that is coming out from the KPC, from the ministry, and from Kenyan Airways, we investors thought that it had quietened down and a deal was in the offing, and therefore ran it up. But again, you can't sort of discount the noise factor, and it came back with a vengeance on Friday. I don't think Kenyan Airways are out of the woods. I think they're very, very sharp operators. I think they'll fight this as far as they can, but it's not settled yet, and no one has actually called a proper ceasefire. Until that happens, I think 10 will probably cap it now.
And of course, with the company's licenses have been being cancelled in terms of importing fuel for local use, the longer this persists, the greater the challenge to get the local operations back on its feet. Has that local operation come under significant pressure already?
Well, I think, it's actually, you're quite correct. The problem is that with the local operation, it's got a great franchise outside Kenya, but the scale hasn't really been built. That's a medium-term story. But, their pump prices are at the expensive end. They said they were able to manage to bring in oil on their own and via their own methods. But I think it's been an expensive way of going about things. And the tolerance level for them to pursue this kind of strategy, I'm sure, is not that long. So I think, you're in a game where both sides are feeling each other's muscles, and it's not clear who's got more muscle right now.